You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lane. Gardening it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lane, here every week, talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And we are definitely into autumn here. We're a month into this thing. And so you're starting to feel that. You can smell autumn. It's in the air. You can feel it in the morning. It's got the Christmas to it. Yes, it gets a little warm every once a week, but it's starting to cool down. Now, you need to be aware, if you've got tomatoes, those summer vegetables, in fact, this weekend, we might see some frost events. So it's going to get in that 30s. So 32, you start to see death and decay. So things that don't have any antifreeze in them, you'll start to see this black leaves on the tops of the plants. If you can cover those, you can protect them and get an extra week, 2, sometimes a month out of them. Or if they're in containers, you can move them into your greenhouse, move them into your garage. You can put them where they're insulated at night. It's going to be that late, really early morning. That's when you see that coldest temperature. What'll happen is it'll flash freeze. It'll be 32 for a moment. And then it's right back warm again because it's early yet. So our average frost date for the mountains, at least here in Prescott, Arizona, is October 29. Now, it might be a couple days later for you folks in Prescott Valley, the Chino Valleys. It might be a little bit sooner than that for Highland Pines, obviously Groom Creek, those areas. And so, but on average, all of us, Paulden, you're the same as us. Skull Valley, Kirkland, you're the same. You're not that special. We're all about the end of October to the first part of November. That's when we're going to Sedona, Camp Verde, Cottonwood. You all think you're so special over there. You're basically going to be in the next couple of weeks. You're going to see some frosty, or chances are, if you've got that tomato plant that's got just loaded with green tomatoes, you should have some sheets, frost cover, something breathable to cover those plants. In fact, you might even do it this weekend because we're in that 30s, which means if you're on the north side of that hill, you're going to see colder climate than the person on the south side or the east side. If you're down in the valleys, you're going to have all that cold air settles. That's why the Verde River, that cold air just settles and flows down that river. And it gets cold down there. Yeah, you might be one zone warmer, but basically it gets cold. You're 4 seasons, just like the rest of us. So you want to have some breathable material, not plastic, not a tarp, but breathable sheets. Frost cover is ideal. Cover those things just for the evening. And then, a couple days from now, this will all be over. It'll blow over and it'll be just fine. So you'll get nice weather again. And then we'll have 10 days of nice weather. And then we'll have another cold event. It will be not just a late frost. It'll be now a harder freeze. Then it'll get nice again. And then we'll get another harder freeze. We'll do this till towards the end of the year, December. Then we might get a light snow. It's just kind of the way it works. We're 4 seasons, but it's super mild. And that's why you can grow things right kind of 12 months out of the year. And so if you're thinking about planting some winter vegetables, now is the time. Put them in now. Put your kales, your cabbages, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts, put the lettuces in now so you've got time to bulk up. If you're thinking about color, let's say flowers, now is the time to plant your pansies. Now is the time for violas, your flowering kales. Now is the time. Echinaceas, now. So put them in while you still got some time to root. The soil's still warm. And so what will happen is it might actually happen this weekend where your garden's vaporized. You get this black mush as those plants that don't have antifreeze in them, as they freeze, they turn black and they just kind of melt. So it's also a good reason why it's time to plant like evergreens, like pine trees. This is the peak time. I thought I'd spend a moment instead of thinking about frost and frost dates. You've already heard that. What are the 7 best pine trees you can grow now? And you got to start with number 1, ponderosa pine. We just had some beautiful, stunning ponderosas. It's the pine needles. It has the longest needles of all the pines. And of course, we've got natural forests. From the largest ponderosa pine forests in the country are right here. So you know they're going to adapt. The question comes up, can I grow it in Prescott Valley where they don't naturally grow? Yes, you can. You just might have to put some irrigation to it. Can I grow it in Camp Verde? Yeah, you can, as long as you put drip irrigation on it. Can I grow it in Chino Valley? Yes, as long as you put drip irrigation. You got to modify for the clay soils and stuff, but you can modify the environment, especially gardeners, where you can grow it, and it's the fastest growing of the pine trees. One that's even more adaptable are pinyon pines. This is the shorter needle native that grows here. And get the pine nuts from it. In fact, single needle pinyon pine. That's one I would grow if it were my yard, because it's hardier. It's got a chubbier needle, and you can get the pine nuts off of it sooner than the single leaf. So it's kind of there's two types you can grow here. And so I'd say do that one. Those are the two natives that grow wild. My favorite of all the long needled pine trees are the Austrian pine. It looks like a ponderosa, has long needles, but it holds its foliage right down to the ground. It's magnificent. From a designer standpoint, I'd much rather plant one of those than a ponderosa, which is basically a trunk. The foliage is up there. Well, from designing, I want to have that foliage right down to the ground. Nice central leader, big swooping branches, long needles to it. The Austrian's a better one. It's tall, not like the 80-foot tall, 100-foot tall ponderosas, but it gets 35 feet pretty easily. That can still be too large for some yards. So then we have the Oregon green pine. It looks very much like an Austrian, but it's a click shorter. It's still rich green, nice central leader, big swooping branches, nice long, it just looks really good, but it only gets now into the mid-20s. Then you've got to step down from that. You've got Bosnian pine. It looks very much the same. Long needle, nice green, nice trunk to it, big swooping branches, but now it only gets into the high teens. And so you've got different steps. And so you've got ponderosa pine, the biggest, then Austrian, then Oregon green, and then you've got Bosnian pines. They're all equally as hardy, equally as tough, both evergreen, as they're going to hold their foliage year round. Both have they just look like they fit here in the mountains of Arizona. And then the last one, Vanderwolf pine. Vanderwolfs are, for you folks in the Midwest, East Coast, it's a variation of an eastern white pine. It's a white pine variation, really soft needles. What I like about that one is the needles are two-toned. They're blue, not green. I mean, like rich silvery blue. It's really nice. And you can't go by it without touching it because it's so soft. But it looks decorative, more designer-esque, because the top of the needle is blue. The bottom is white, like silvery color. So you get this two-toned color. Very interesting, very drought hardy. In fact, any of these that I just mentioned, ponderosa, Scotch, Austrian, Oregon green, Bosnians, Vanderwolfs, if you killed, it'll be from overwatering. The pine trees need to have air at their roots, and then they give off air up top. They can take on whatever cold comes their way. What they need is a soil that drains and perks. If you give them that, they'll thrive. I don't care what elevation you're dealing with. As long as you come out of Black Canyon City, up the hill to Cordes Junction and beyond, they're going to do exceptionally well. I have to put a caveat there. Stay away from, these are you folks from Phoenix, Tucson, those areas. You're used to your Goldwater pines, those long needle pines that grow down there. They also grow up here, but not very well. I never sell them at the garden center, at least here at Waters Garden Center. You'll find them at box stores and stuff, but there's a rust, there's a disease that is a host from the oak trees that carries over to the pine trees. And so they live for just a few years, and they get this orangey coating to them, and they collapse and die. You really don't want to plant that in your yard. They'll grow. They say they grow. You read the tag, it says it's grow. But I'm telling you, as one gardener, my name's Ken, we're just friends talking over the fence. I would not plant that myself, because you're going to have issues, because we've got so many oak trees just throughout the area, and it just blows across the plains and gets on your pine trees and causes issues. So stay with your locally higher altitude pine trees, and you're going to thrive and look great for decades. They'll outlive you and I combined. All right, so that's it for this segment. Be right back with Lisa Water's-Lane and your garden questions after this.
Water's October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maple, burning bush, spicy mums, and glamour kale.
Few flowers are more elegant in fall than Water's Glamour Kale.
The autumn colors are perfect for containers, beds, and borders.
And it's so easy to grow.
This unique Prescott selection is an award winner for cold hardiness, intense red, purple flowers in a frilly package.
You'll find bright fall flowers here at Water's Garden Center in Prescott. All right, so we are back with Lisa Water's-Lane in the studio, just kind of going through your garden questions. Just what are other gardeners asking about? So Lisa brings those to us. It could be a Facebook questions, an email. We get quite a few of those. Actually, YouTube has a surprising number of questions. And then, of course, here in the garden center, right here at Water's Garden Center, we're talking to gardeners all day long. So we want to share those. So welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It is good to be here. Like, this is the reason we live here, not at the garden center, but Central Highlands of Arizona. That it's just so beautiful out. All the trees are turning color.
It's beautiful right now.
Oh my gosh. You can walk, never get hot.
Turned,
yeah.
The oaks are starting.
Did you notice the maple trees out front in front of the store?
Yeah.
Where the eastern side, where the sun is hitting them, they're in full red. The backside, the north side, is all green.
Isn't that weird?
So it is interesting. So the sun is doing something to help them turn. They're happy with that sun. They want to turn, but they want to turn where they're warm. Very interesting stuff. So anyway, what kind of garden questions we got?
All right. Well, our first question is from Sharon. She was in the other day, saw us unloading aspens out of the back of a truck. And she has a new home in Prescott Valley. She's asking, can I put an aspen in Prescott Valley? Her neighbors were discouraging her. She really wants one, loves the look. So what do you think?
Sharon, you live in America. Get what you want. Don't listen to your neighbors. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what they're talking about. If you drive around Prescott Valley, there are beautiful aspens out there. I mean, beautiful white bark. They're starting to get that little tinge of gold to them. Sharon, you can have one, get one, do one. Oh my goodness. We've got Aspen Creek right here. It's about the same level as Prescott Valley. Why wouldn't it grow out there? That's a neighbor that doesn't know what they're talking about. Go for it. In fact, I've seen them, if you irrigate them, they'll go as low as Cordis Junction, Jerome, although that might be getting, as you drop down to that lower level, gets a little bit much. But for sure, you can go down to 4,000 foot level. No problem. We had them in Skull Valley. We grew up several of them. They were stunning. As you go lower in elevation, you may have to actually put them on drip irrigation, which, it's pretty easy. You're going to put everything else on there and water it once a week. If you kill an aspen, especially in Prescott Valley, that clay soil with the caliche layers, if you kill them, it will be from over watering, not under watering.
That is true.
So you kind of put them on a drip, water them once a week, and you're probably can have some beautiful, impress your neighbor with your green thumbs, plant an aspen. And we've got, we were just looking at some 12, 15 footers are huge.
Got
They're
some nice ones.
Stunning.
Definitely.
Now's the time to put them in for sure.
And aspens are pretty, that beautiful golden color in the fall. We were coming back from the lake going through Flagstaff, and that one whole side of the mountains, just you could see the aspens.
Yeah,
it was
all of them are going. Well, I was just helping a friend in Paquito Valley. That's out towards the base of the out past Coyote Springs, past Prescott Valley, where they've got bigger properties.
Right.
And they wanted to hide some neighbors, but they have these beautiful vistas. They didn't want to hide it.
Right.
So we used the aspens to really create a picture frame. We hid the neighbor's barn and we pictured a thing, and they sit on their front patio and they go, look at my sunsets. They are spectacular. You can use them as a design element to frame your vistas. Everyone thinks, fall color and white bark. Well, it's good, but you can also use them to very effectively to screen or to highlight your best views on your property.
Very true. Very true. All right. Our next question is from Doug out in Prescott Valley again. He has a large, older pampas grass that's starting to kind of die out in the center.
Yeah.
He wants to know, is there anything you do with that? Is just that the nature of the beast?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I don't think anybody burns the centers out of them anymore.
No, it doesn't do anything anyway. So just come back. So pampas grass are kind of like people. There's a stage where they're just like, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. And they sing well and they dance and they just want to take a picture and put them on the front of magazines and talk about them. They're just rock stars. And then they start to fade. You put them on the front cover of AARP, you know, kind of, yeah. We're learning how to ask for a discount, travel better, go on a cruise, and they start to die out in the middle. And then finally they get to the point where they get a horseshoe thing where they just, the whole side will die out and they just don't look good anymore. And they're kind of maybe not, their skin's maybe a little wrinkler. They got some spots and you're not going to put them on the front of a magazine, but they're still alive for a little bit. You just almost have to make a call and go, you know, it's been a good 10 years, 8 years, 10, 12 at most. And then they get ugly where they need to be replaced. You can date neighborhoods by their pampas grass.
That's true.
Don't let your pampas grass, Doug, for the love of gardening, don't let the pampas grass date your house just because the center died out or it's a horseshoe shape. You're going to dig it up and probably reset for another $50. You get this glorious new one that'll take you for another 10 years. Just like $5 a year. Just think of it that way. For the next 10 years, you're good. And you have this beautiful new pampas grass, but they stop blooming. They die out in the middle. There's a time when plants get ugly and they're not puppy dogs. So you're planting in the ground. They're actually plants. They're disposable. You can dig them up. They don't feel pain. They don't have nerves. Doug, just dig the thing up. It's bringing you down. It's bugging you because otherwise you wouldn't have asked the question. So I know it should have been done last year. Don't wait till next year to do it and ask the same question. Just get it. Now's a good time to plant pampas grass. Or maybe you go with a smaller grass. Yeah, get time to change it up. You can get a coral forester grass. It's kind of hip high thing that blooms even longer. So, or maybe you change it to a flame maple, just a tall, kind of a similar sized maple, smaller leaf maple. It has kind of a Japanese maple look, but it takes full sun and wind like a pampas grass. Maybe it's time to change it up, but it's going to be some work.
Yes,
to get that root out. Might take you all winter.
To your bumper. Did we do that once?
No, that was a rose tree. But it's got like a palm tree, very, very fibrous root mass.
Like a sponge.
So you gotta dig it up, chip away at it, and eventually you'll get it and kill it off. So Doug, there's your answer. Not what you wanted to hear. There is no there is no recovery.
But there is recovery.
Yeah, plant new.
Something new.
Fresh new. Yeah.
Right.
Fresh new.
All right. Our next question is from Alicia in Prescott. She says some of her ponderosas and Austrian pines on her property are having needles kind of brown out and drop. Okay. So she's concerned, is that a normal occurrence? Is it something she should be worried about?
I would say just by what you're saying, not to worry. I think you're fine. So pine cones are another one. So ponderosas will drop their pine cones now. So they can be, watch your head, wear a hat or a helmet. Because they can drop, cleaning those things up. It's part of what happens is pine trees, they're lush and full in spring. And then they put that brand new growth on. You have 2 feet for an Austrian pine, maybe a little bit more for ponderosas. And so you get this big, full, fluffy, thick pine tree. And then it starts to shade the inside needles. And so they don't get the sun like they were doing. And then as it puts on this year's ring of wood, what happens is the bark actually gets a little thicker, and so closer to the trunk of that pine tree, it gets too thick for even a needle to get through it. So it's a natural process. A pine tree, you'll never see needles on the actual trunk because the bark and the wood has gotten so thick, and they do that to insulate themselves. So in case it gets droughty, gets fire, there's some reasons that it's doing that. But needles can't compete, so they just shed those, and so they'll put on new needles next spring, and the whole process will start over. So going back to what should you do for a pine tree right now? I'd do 2 things. 1, don't worry. 2, well, actually 3 things. Don't worry. 2, fertilize it. so that you're setting the stage for next spring's flush new growth. So you get this beautiful new growth. Secondly, pine trees are prone to bark beetle, ips, flathead borers, some things. Treat it right now with a tree and shrub drench. There's a liquid that you mix up in a watering can, pour it right at the base of the tree. The plant will absorb it as it's absorbing nutrients from your fertilizer. Do those two things, fertilize and tree and shrub drench. You will have a happy, healthy, worry-free pine tree for, well, the next year at least. So don't worry, basically, you're fine. Right. But that's a gardener, catching what's going on in nature.
Definitely.
That's it for this segment. Ken and Lisa Lane, the Mountain Gardeners. We'll be right back after this. Water's October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maples, spicy mums, glamour kale, and burning bush.
Water's compact burning bush is a neat, well-behaved shrub prized for its blazing red foliage in the fall.
Looks great when planted with autumn gold sumacs, lilacs, and gold euonymus.
At 6 foot, this bush makes a natural hedge that burns red through autumn.
You'll find the showiest shrubs here at Waters Garden Center.
Siri, give me directions to Waters Garden Center.
So we have an evergreen theme going to the show this week. I thought I'd mention cedars. A lot of cedars do amazing here. They kind of look like junipers, only they're much taller. Not all of them. I guess the biggest one, Deodar cedar, is crazy tall. It's probably the largest of all the evergreens. But there's cousins of that. I mean, Deodar cedar's too large for most garden centers, most yards. I don't think I'd have one in my yard. It's just, I've got a half acre. I want some patio left over. I don't want it to obliterate my house from the front street. I want it to be strategic. And so it's a 80, 100-foot tall tree with 25-foot swooping branches. They're gigantic, too big for a lot of places. Kind of a brief history. Deodar cedar is also known in the Bible as the tree of Lebanon. So that's what they made portions of the tabernacle out of. And you just hear this story in the Old Testaments. Well, that's the same tree. There's some of the just huge. And so they're too big for some yards. But if you need a privacy screen or windbreak into like now, Deodar cedar, big, gigantic trunk, swooping branches. I mean, each branch 12 feet long on each side. It's gigantic. So kind of a blue tinge to it. Looks really good. So I saw a lot of them. There's one that's like that, that's a step down. It's called golden Deodar cedar. It's got a gold hue to it. Same shape, but it only gets 20 feet tall. So now all of a sudden you can have this anywhere, especially if you've got a dark colored rock like that chocolate mocha, sometimes that gold, or you've got a lot of native blues showing up, that pinyon pines and the oak trees. Well, that gold really is striking. Good contrast, easy to design with, but equally as hardy as the other cedars grow here. Then there's an interesting one that's kind of a dwarf version, only gets maybe 10 feet tall. It's called Hortsman. Horts, Hortsman Deodar cedar, Hortsman cedar. It's got a very unusual character. Again, main trunk, then interesting character coming off the branches, but only gets 10 feet tall. It's quite striking, very unusual. You look at it and go, oh, you either love it or you hate it, but you don't, emotionally, you have to decide. It's just so interesting. Kind of a rich, deep, kind of blue-green color to it. This nice pattern, kind of like if you like Lego sets. That's a great one. It looks really good out there. And so Hortsman is good. One that a lot of folks don't know that are new to the area, but does exceptionally well. You folks from the Northwest, you know this one. It's called Atlas cedar or weeping Atlas cedar. So Atlas cedar is the statehood tree downtown on the Prescott Courthouse Square. Some of the biggest trees in the front where Bucky O'Neill's statues are, those are Atlas cedars. Like, they're tall. I mean, they've got to be every bit of 80 feet tall, big, gigantic trunk. It's kind of comparable to a Deodar cedar as far as size goes, but has a bluer hue to it. Has a more formal, less soft, more rigid kind of layer Christmas tree look to it. One that's related to that is called weeping Atlas cedar. Now, this is unusual. If you're into art pieces, you would like Atlas cedar. It grows really long, and it has a tendril on it that just grows up. So we take the tendril and we train it into S shapes, kind of flowing. It's actually it's hard to describe over the airwaves, but you'd have to see one. They're just so unusual. They get up to 12 feet, 15 feet tall, and then the branches just flow over throughout the landscape. Very unusual. This one you put in the middle of a flower bed. You put it in the middle of that driveway, roundabout driveway. You put it off the side patio. It's just so interesting, unusual. You want to see it up close. But weeping Atlas cedar, we've got different forms here at the garden center. Now's a great time to plant those, but you plant the form that fits your kind of your garden style. Again, it's one of those, you either love it or you hate it. It's kind of like you're not going to be emotionally, you have to decide, going, that's not for me. I only want one tree in the front yard, and that ain't it. I want a Christmas tree. It's not it. I want to be native. It's kind of doesn't even have a native look. Looks like very formal. You folks from the East Coast would like that kind of very formal, unusual. Folks have lots of art in their homes. You would love Atlas cedar. You've got to have one because you look at it and go, cool. I've never seen that before. And lastly, Feelin' Blue cedar. This is very short. It's more of a ground cover. So Feelin' Blue has the same texture. All these cedars have the same needle, short needle, typically blue, maybe a golden hue to it. Now, they all look the same, but Feelin' Blue flows. It gets up about no more than hip high, really more like knee high. Then it flows over that raised bed, down that front steps, softening up that rock lawn that's out there, just flows, has the same sun hardiness. You water it once a week, you're good. Low maintenance, low care, but easy, kind of evergreen kind of color to it. But Feelin' Blue is the ground cover. So you got Deodar cedar, the biggest, then golden, step down with a golden hue, Hortsman, about 10 feet tall. Atlas cedar, okay, that one does get big, it's 80 foot. And then a weeping version of that gets about 10 feet. And then Feelin' Blue, about hip high or shorter, really knee high. Those are the cedars you can grow here and count on them to just look good year round. Water's October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maples, burning bush, Arizona creeper, glamour kale, and spicy mum.
Water's Spicy Mums are best sellers for super long bloom times and local garden tuck.
Spicy mums glow yellow with a halo of fiery orange around each daisy flower.
These big, bold perennials are perfectly shaped and add color in autumn when few flowers are in peak blooms.
You'll find bright fall flowers here at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. All right, so Ken and Lisa Waters Lane. Lisa is a Waters. Her father started Waters Garden Center back in 1962, and you just grew up here in the garden. It's funny, I hear not always men, sometimes just older individuals. They're coming in, they're talking to you, and they're, well, they're wondering if you know enough. Well, is there someone else that is maybe a man here? You see this weird cultural thing that happens, and when you're talking to a person that's foremost knowledge of the entire probably state, at least for the Central Highlands, it knows plants. She grew up in the business. And then I see that a little bit with our kids. They were the same. They're in their late 20s. They've been in the business since they were in diapers. They know more than most gardeners, master gardeners know. Mm-hmm. And they're going, well, you're just too young. Give me someone else. I'm going, okay, yeah. Whatever makes you comfortable, we're here for you.
And I would say, in addition to that, our staff is very well educated, very knowledgeable. Yeah. We got three that are Arizona certified nursery people, which is a huge.
That's hard to get. There's 5 of us because you and I count too. Right. There's 5 of us. Most garden centers don't even have 1.
Right.
And we got 5. This is where the Latin name, the common name, how to design it into a landscape for the proper spacing, how it's going to grow, how it's going to look 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. It's intense. It's like the bar if you're an attorney. It takes all day to actually take this test to be approved or not approved. And so it's just,
Right.
Arizona certified nursery professional.
Professional.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah. So we have 5 on staff,
Yeah.
and then just our staff is very knowledgeable. We do a lot of training. We do a lot to inform them so they can help our customers. And that it's sort of important for people to know. It's not just you and I that have all the knowledge, or it's the staff.
I mean, I'm the weak link in the whole place because I'm running. If electricity goes down, or attorneys need to or accountants are doing, or looking at supply chain and talking to vendors and what's going to come down the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what was delivered yesterday. They do. So they're more in tune with the rhythm day to day. I'm more the rhythm of the seasonality of stuff.
There
So
you go.
anyway, good point. And I don't even know where that came up with, but anyway, I'm glad I'm here working with you, and I respect your knowledge of what you bring to the table.
I respect you too, dear.
Well, thank you. So tell me, how do you respect me the most? Let's go deeper into this.
I could have bet $100.
Every man that's tuned in right now is wanting the same thing from his significant other, and we just want to know. Anyway, let's go to gardening.
Yeah, women feel my pain on this. All right. So last week we talked about evergreen shrubs and how important they are to have those evergreens in your yard. This week we'll cover the trees.
Okay, so perfect.
The trees of winter.
It's time.
Yeah, so definitely those evergreen trees that fill the space that you need in the wintertime in your yard. So I kind of divided it into sections, and I thought I'd start with pines.
Okay.
Because right now we have some gorgeous Austrian pines in the yard. So if you're looking for a nice evergreen, get some good size to it, 30, 35 feet, 15, 20 feet wide. Fast grower, I would say, of the pines, they're probably one of the fastest. Would you agree?
If not the fast, you can get a couple of feet a year out of them. That's fast for any plant, but especially for evergreens.
So that's the Austrian pine, also known as the
Austrian black pine.
Pinus
nigris.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, very good, dear. You showed
black
your Latin.
Pine. Latin says pine. Pinus is pine. Nigris is black. Yeah. Black pine.
There's also the Bosnian pine, which they're all kind of cousins of each other. So a little bit shorter needle, not quite as big a tree.
Right. Half size.
And its maturity, but another really one that does well. And then my favorite, which is the Oregon green pine.
Oh.
And I love this one because it fits into those smaller yards. Gets maybe 15 feet tall, 5 to 8 feet wide. It has a shorter needle to it than the Austrian, but it's very dense, very lush.
Super
and that
green
is just, wow, that's green. So nice little tree for a lot of the yards around here.
And all those you have in stock right now. So they're of course, we're building up a lot like the Oregon green.
Right.
That makes a good Christmas tree. It's just so perfectly layered, shorter needle, dense. Just screams, hug me. Of course, it's kind of pokey, but it looks
there.
fuzzy.
There is one you can hug.
Okay.
Is the Vanderwolf pine.
Oh, good.
So we do have some lovely Vanderwolfs in kind of a variegated needle on it. We always kind of call it the teddy bear tree because you could go stroke it, hug it, and it's not going to poke on you.
Yeah.
So that's
it looks like it's a pine tree that went to the hair salon, hairdresser, and got a do, came back and went, plant me. It looks like that because you can't go by it without touching it, going, admiring it.
It really is a pretty one. Of course, the spruce, they do quite well in our area as well. The Colorado blue spruce is probably one that most people are familiar with. They have come out with the baby blue, which really is a beautiful blue for the spruce. It really keeps its color. It has that real silvery blue. Little smaller there again for compared to the Colorado spruce, but a really pretty tree. I'm very impressed with how their uniformity and their size and their color.
It looks like a Christmas tree, only it's got bright silver. You put little Christmas lights on that out in the yard, or miniature lights.
Beautiful.
The thing is going to glow at night. It's so silvery blue, and the needles are about the same length, but there's more of them.
Yeah.
So it has this perfect shape to it. And quite honestly, Colorado spruce, it's a great tree. It's the fastest growing of all the spruce, but it's too big for most yards. The baby blue eyes, the Backer eyes, some of these others, Fat Albert spruce, there's so much they're uniform, they're brighter colored,
Yeah.
and they don't get so doggone big.
Easier in the
So,
landscapes.
Yeah,
definitely.
and they're just as hardy as the native Colorado spruce.
Black Hills spruce,
Yeah,
which is another
nice green.
short needle green, a little on the slower growing side. And then, of course, Alberta spruce, which is great if you're looking for a living tree or you like to decorate out in your yard. They do tremendous in containers because they're so slow growing. They're easy to grow in a container.
Yeah. You had some come in. They were the biggest ones I've ever seen. They're taller than I am.
Yeah.
For an Alberta spruce, this if you've got really green thumbs, it might grow 3 inches a year. This thing is now taller than I am. Think how old this tree is.
Yeah.
It's like instantaneous spectacle. It's just beautiful.
To get them that size is unusual, and they are beautiful.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And only found
at Waters
Garden Center. Yeah.
1850.
Truly, that's the case. Truly, yeah.
Right. So then we kind of went into the cypress. So we have the blue ice Arizona cypress.
Nice.
Does very well. Very pretty tree. We have one from called Chaparral, which is a little more of a sagey green Arizona cypress.
Yeah.
Really nicely out there. We have Deodar cedars and then Atlas cedar.
You should explain Atlas because most people don't know what that is. So it's
the Atlas. I think there's a huge one down at the courthouse.
Yes, it's the statehood tree down on right downtown Prescott on the courthouse. That is the statehood tree. They planted 2 of them back in 1914, and now they're like towering above the elm trees.
Yeah, I don't think people even really see them sometimes.
They're so big.
They're so big,
it's huge.
But we also have those in a serpentine. So they've trained it to do like an S shape, and then also weeping where it just kind of bends over and grows down. I love those. I think they're spectacular. But nice silvery blue, just a really nice little layered tree. I think they're beautiful.
Drought hardy as all get out. And I'm sure that the original tree was brought by Conestoga wagon from the East Coast, well, probably by 1914, by train from the East Coast. They brought them in and they planted it there, and it just kept going. So they're tough.
Right.
So, but all this, the Arizona cypress, that icy blue, the bright silver blue,
so pretty.
That is the prettiest native you could plant out there. Yeah. That's so robust. That's this bright colored. So all those can be planted now. In fact, you have your best selection of evergreens you can plant right now. Yeah. It doesn't spring. We won't have this many evergreens that you can plant because it's time to put them in the ground. And so we've dedicated more space. We can get more of them this time of year.
Right.
Thank you, Lisa. Out of time, just like that. A list of 10 evergreens, and there we go. Ken and Lisa Lane, the Mountain Gardeners, and talking about evergreen trees. Be right back.
Waters Companion. Prescott Blaze Maple is the fastest local tree with brilliant red foliage.
Prescott Blaze Maples grow 3 feet each year. That's fast.
Prescott Blaze Maples are perfect for patios or any place a shade tree is needed.
We have a limited number of huge, instant Prescott Blaze maples.
The maples are brighter in Prescott at Waters Garden Center.
Or shop online at top10trees.com. Now, the mountains of Arizona, we're famous for our evergreen forests. Pine trees mainly, junipers, Arizona cypress. There's quite a few of them. But there's so many others that are shorter, like shrub forms. So you've got lots of native manzanitas that grow here. Well, you can have that in your backyard, and it's got the striking red bark down the trunk. It's got beautiful, rich, deep forest green foliage. It's got a bell-shaped flower in spring. It has a lot going on for it, and super drought hardy. This is one you do not want to put on a drip system. It's so low care. You kind of plant it out there and water it by hand as you remember. That's a manzanita for you. Well, there's quite a few plants like that, but I would call that a fall to autumn, even into winter evergreeny kind of things. Many of them, like Nandina or heavenly bamboo. If you folks in California, this heavenly bamboo. The rest of us, Nandina. There's lots of varieties of this. It's a broadleaf evergreen. It's got wide needle leaves to it, holds its foliage, but when it's out in full sun, gets a striking red to purple foliage. It's quite interesting. And then when it pushes its new growth in spring, it's nice, soft, bamboo-looking type of foliage. It's not bamboo, So bamboo's invasive in most landscapes. Most landscapes, you do not want bamboo. It takes over. You can't get rid of the clusters. Snakes hide out in it. It's just too big, too aggressive. But heavenly bamboo or Nandina, it's not really it's sort of has a look to it, but it's not truly a clumping or running type of bamboo. So it's much easier to care for, much low maintenance, grows in the ground, grows in containers, grows out in raised beds. It's just got a lot going on for it. Out in full sun, it gets bright colors like reds and purples, and in the shade, it just has this it's kind of like a beautiful woman with nice new highlights. Like the top edge would be nice and red, but basically it's green. So it's that. It's got a lot going on for it. And here's the beautiful thing: javelina, deer, rabbits, they don't eat it. Antelope do not bother heavenly bamboo or Nandina. It's a great plant for it's evergreen, but it's also got some fall color to it. It's a blend. It gives you that it's quite fun to play with from a designer standpoint, because it just has this soft foliage. And with a rock yard, it's so harsh. Rock is so, well, it's just sterile. And you need some softness to it. And so your greenscape or soft scape is what we call it, softens up all your hardscape. That's the patios and the rock and the driveways and the pillars and the fences. That's hardscape. Softscape gives life back to that yard, yet low maintenance. And so those are great ones. Another one that's quite famous, probably the number one seller in the nation, not necessarily here in the mountains of Arizona, but it's right up there. Boxwood. Now, I don't know why this thing keeps getting I can tell you why it's so popular. It's perfect. It always keeps its shape. It doesn't have any real issues. Animals don't bother it. It's a perfect, tight, full, evergreen plant. And quite honestly, for you butterfly folks, bees, pollinators, it's a great pollinator. In the spring, it blooms. When the bees first come out of hibernation, they'll use it as one of the very few food sources out in the yards. It's a great one to have out there because it's evergreen, holds its foliage, virtually takes no pruning, and it's a pollinator. Oh my gosh, it's like everything you want in a plant. They just don't get very big. And they're kind of hip high, most of them. There's a couple columnar varieties that maybe get a little bit taller, but not really. They're going to be in that hip to knee high. So that's one where they edge like English gardens, like a nice knee high to hip high hedge that formally surrounds the flower beds. That's it. That's boxwood. That's why it's so popular. It just always looks good year round. One that's sort of like that, but a little different, is euonymus. So euonymus is a gigantic family of plants. It comes in a gold tinge and a silver tinge and a solid green. It comes in head high or bigger, hedge, it's big, or it goes chest high or hip high. They got some ground cover varieties. They're called winter creepers. They're all varieties of euonymus. Most of them are evergreen. In fact, all of them are, except for one that I can think of. Burning bush, which is turning red right now as we speak. You see this beautiful kind of head-high shrub out there in the yard. It's bright red. That is burning bush. It's one of the few. It's actually a euonymus. It's the same family of plants. Again, this is a huge family of plants. Most are evergreen, but that one that grows up here is a deciduous variety. That is, it loses its leaves. But before it does that, it turns this burning red. That's the name, burning bush. Shrub out there that's just magnificent. I mean, it's just, if you need some red out for the fall color, that's good. And even without foliage, the stems are quite interesting as you look at close. They've got a bark, kind of a bark covered, kind of corky looking bark to it. It's just super unusual. Florists often will take cuttings and use them in their floral arrangements. I think they'd look just quite striking with nothing but burning bush coming out of a vase. It'd just be beautiful. Without the red color, just no foliage. It's so interesting and super easy to grow. So all those are really good. A lot of the euonymus can change, have kind of like that Nandina. They can have some coloration variation to them. I would say junipers. Junipers are evergreen, obviously. But many varieties can have a purple hue or a golden hue to them. So they can have some very interesting, there's nothing lower maintenance than juniper. They get a bum rap because they have some allergy issues. The big native ones can have some allergies. Quite honestly, we only grow non-allergy, not allergy-free, but darn close to it. So the male junipers are the ones that have all the pollen. They think they're just going to populate every gal out there. So pollen goes streaming across there, and then you get these allergy attacks. But if you just have females, so we only grow female varieties of junipers here at Waters Garden Center because we're not starting them by seed, we're starting them by cuttings. So we can dictate male or female kind of plants. And so you get a prettier plant without all the allergy issues. But that's one, many of them turn colors, quite interesting colors. And of course, number one seller, maybe there's two. There's one native and one big one, red-tipped Photinia. This one's gigantic. So it gets 12 by 12 by 12. I mean, children, small dogs have been lost in red-tipped Photinia. They can be too big. Don't put them next to the house or they will take over. Generally, they're too big for my yard, so I don't have one in my yard because I don't want to work that hard. It gets mildew, it has bugs, grasshoppers get on, deer eat it. It's just got every problem you could have, it's got it. But it is number one seller because it grows so fast that you get a lot of plant for the money, basically. So it's cheap. But it can be it's a laborious plant. It's not low maintenance. It's laborious to keep it in check. So you're always going to have your maintenance guy out there cutting on this thing 2 or 3 times a year. One that's sort of like that, that's a native, it's quite good. This one is low care, is silverberry, or Elaeagnus is the botanical name. You think Ellie and Agnes, put them together. That's Elaeagnus. That's the native, that's botanical name, but silverberry is kind of probably easier to remember. Now it comes in gold, that's the one I plant myself. Again, it's a big plant, well above my height. I mean, I'm a tall man. It's above me. It's easily going up 7, 8, maybe 10 feet. Solid, just evergreen foliage, and it is drought hardy. I do not put mine on a drip irrigation, so it would grow too fast. I want to abuse it to keep it in check. Nice, full, rich. The leaves are bigger than a silver dollar, bigger than an old-fashioned cell phone. I guess that's related to more anymore, but it's a good plant. The native one is blue. There's a gold variation of that's quite striking. I've got it in my darker parts of the landscape against a dark cedar fence, and it just shines. I mean, it adds some life, some richness to that part of the yard. And I hardly care for it. I prune it. Maybe I might give it a haircut once a year. Yeah, and then I never water it. It's a great plant. So silverberry. Those are your broadleaf evergreens that also look good in autumn and throughout the winter season to come.
Waters October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maple, burning bush, spicy mums, and glamour kale.
Few flowers are more elegant in fall than Waters Glamour Kale.
The autumn colors are perfect for containers, beds, and borders.
And it's so easy to grow.
This unique Prescott selection is an award winner for cold hardiness, intense red, purple flowers in a frilly package.
You'll find bright fall flowers here at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Birds have begun to migrate, and so they're going south. It's a critical time, if you're into birding at all, to keep those bird feeders going. So don't take them down too early, because you're finding your original birds have been hanging out there all, since summer. They're taking off, but there's new birds that are going to take their place. And so you really do want to keep feeding them out there as long as you can, because they're dependent on you. They'll kind of take a rest in your backyard around where there's a feeder. They'll kind of recharge for a few days. It's not like they just fly straight 2,000 miles from Canada down to wherever. No, they're jumping from feeder to feeder. They're resting, especially hummingbirds, all birds really. So keep the birds out there. Keep the feeders out there. You might even change up some of the feeds. Get a suet feeder and a seed feeder, both out there. But don't let them go empty. They need you at this point more than ever. Also, kind of watch that bargain basement seed that you can put into feeders. A lot of that's millet. They don't even eat that stuff. They just pick through it. They'll throw it on the ground, getting to the good stuff. So it's might be time to even upgrade some of your feeders so that the birds, they don't waste as much, and it'll broaden the types of birds that come through your feeder. Watch this too. I find a lot of rookie mistakes. Folks are putting donuts, bread, just scraps from out in the yard. I mean, this is like crack cocaine for birds. They do like it. They'll eat it. But I don't know that it's very healthy for them, especially while they're migrating. It's time to kind of watch. A little bit's okay, but if that's your main way of feeding your birds, that's not good for them. So kind of keep them going. I'd say also that hummingbird nectar. Now, I know we're going to get some frosty nights. Birds will hang around surprisingly long around your feeders, even though it's freezing outside. I don't know how they get through sometimes, but I think part of it is they're migrating too. And so maybe your local birds, they've taken off, but then others from farther north, they're camping out and they're using your feeders as a way to kind of get through. So don't forget. Now, what I'm doing with my plants, my gardens right now, is I'm letting those great big flowers go to seed. So it's Mexican hat, echinaceas, gaillardias. These have been the sunflowery kind of looking perennial flowers that are out in the yard. I've been deadheading those for months, and they've been pulsating flowers like crazy. Well, I'm letting them go dormant. They're going to rest underground. Perennials, most of them, they'll rest underground, kind of take a break through winter, and they come back next spring with a vengeance. I'm letting those seed heads stay up there. So for my winter birds, they've got something to kind of hang out and feed off of. And so I'm trying to have some things for them, thinking kind of taking care of them. The other one too, watch your seed. This is when rats and mice and voles, they start coming in. Kind of, you want to put your seed, protect it. They're going to come into your garage going, hey, look, a free meal. So kind of watch what you do, because everything's on the move right now, not just birds, but also fungus gnats. They're coming indoors. You're seeing voles. They'll start getting into your grills underneath the RV. They'll be getting into places. So just kind of take a little extra care, but really watch after your birds right now. So throughout the week, Lisa and I, we do camp out here at Watters Garden Center. We love talking plants. We love talking fall and winter gardening, birding. We're here for you throughout the week at Watters Garden Center. Watters October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maples, burning bush, Arizona creeper, glamour kale, and spicy mum.
Watters Spicy Mums are best sellers for super long bloom times and local garden tuck.
Spicy mums glow yellow with a halo of fiery orange around each daisy flower.
These big, bold perennials are perfectly shaped and add color in autumn when few flowers are in peak blooms.
You'll find bright fall flowers here at Watters Garden Center in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.